Hey, it's Coach M here. Today we're going to talk about how you can truly help your teenager if they're experiencing anxiety. I'm going to first explain where their anxiety is truly coming from and what you can do to help them with it. Coming up. Okay, for those of you who know me, I'm all about giving the truth, even if it's hard to hear sometimes. My belief is the truth is the only way to change and transform our lives. So here is the truth. We think that our teens' anxiety is because they're a little soft. They've never really had to endure anything really hard. So when the going gets tough, they crumble, they fall apart and can't handle it. And as parents, we don't really understand why. Why do they get so anxious about their schoolwork and then they don't end up doing it or doing as well as we think they should? Or why do they get so anxious when they have to talk to someone that they don't know that well? Or they flip out and have a complete meltdown over what we see as something small and insignificant. The truth is, their anxiety is not really about school. It's not really about talking to that person that they don't know. It's not really about that so-called small thing that they flip out about. Their anxiety is coming from a lack of self-trust. The core belief that they are not good enough, not capable enough to handle everything that they might have to go through. They worry they're not strong enough to deal with all the potential challenges they're thinking about, whether it's about school and all the work that they have to complete, or talking to that person they don't know well and being okay if they're rejected, or doing everything perfectly so that you will be happy with them, so that they don't disappoint you. Oftentimes, they don't feel good enough to meet all your expectations of them, all the expectations of their family members and even their friends. They start with one anxious thought that leads to another and another, and pretty soon it's spiraling out of control. Their thoughts lead to more and more anxious feelings, creating a negative thought loop that they don't know how to get out of. So how do you really help your teenager with their anxiety? With those overwhelming thoughts that they have that consume them and make them feel worse and worse about themselves? We first have to see where this core belief of feeling inadequate and not good enough is truly coming from. So I want you to think back to your childhood. Were you praised when you did well at something? And praised even more if you excelled in a certain area? Were you told how pretty or handsome that you were? Or what a good boy or good girl you were? The problem is, most of us grew up in an environment where we felt we had to please our parents, our teachers, other adults, in order to be seen as worthy and good enough. And of course, culture and society has only reinforced this, right? By telling you that your worth is based on your achievements, your accolades, whether you went to college or not, what type of job you have, the size of your bank account, if you got married and had children within a reasonable time frame, which is usually in your 20s or 30s, and the list goes on and on. Is it no wonder that we are all trying to seek acceptance, worthiness, and value through the things that society deems as valuable? Could we be passing this on to our kids without even being fully aware of it? Think about this question as well. When you were a kid, how did your parents view mistakes when you made them? Did they expect you to make mistakes, being a kid and all? Did they tell you that mistakes are okay and actually they're needed for your growth and learning? Did they welcome mistakes, knowing that mistakes are our greatest teachers? For most of us, the answer to these questions is a big fat no. And for a good majority of us, we were actually berated for making mistakes or punished or disciplined in some way. Of course, we look back and realize that our parents were just doing the best that they could at the time with the resources and information they had. We don't fault them, we don't hold a grudge, we forgive them, we learn and we move on. But I want to ask you this. Could you be repeating the same habits and similar behavior as your parents, but maybe in even subtler ways with your own kids? You may want to push back on this and tell me how horrible your parents treated you, or how they were so unenlightened, and how you're parenting your kids from a much more mindful, enlightened place. And I wouldn't tell you that you're wrong. Those of us working on ourselves, always looking for new information to learn and grow, typically don't repeat all the negative patterns of our parents, at least not the obvious ones. It's the subtler ones that are sneaky, that we never really knew existed, and we have to watch out for and gain awareness about. It's these subtle ways of putting more pressure on our teens to achieve for our approval that increases their anxiety. When they get the message early on that they are seen, heard, and validated only when they please us, only when they make us look good, or they make decisions that we believe are the best for them, is it no wonder at some point they would feel like it's impossible to live up to those expectations, to this demand that we're placing on them? I know what you're thinking, but of course I want my teen to excel, to do well in life, to have a better life than me, to be happy and successful. Absolutely. But ask yourself, what does happy and successful even look like to your teen? Have you taken the time to ask them what they want for their life? What they want it to look like, be like, feel like? Helping your teen with their anxiety is really about two things. Number one, it's about getting them the tools to help them change their core belief of not feeling good enough. And if their anxiety is severe enough, almost debilitating, then finding the right therapist is extremely important. A therapist that your teen really clicks with, feels safe with, and wants to talk to. And if the anxiety isn't so bad that it's debilitating your teen, and your teen is still high functioning, then getting a good life coach that your teen trusts and will open up to can be extremely helpful. Number two is assessing how you could be contributing to your teen's anxiety. This requires taking a good hard look at ourselves and finding out where perfectionism, fear, and our own feelings of inadequacy are showing up in our lives. Oftentimes, we project what we are struggling with in subtle ways, especially towards our children, without even being aware of it. So ask yourself these questions. Are you fully present with your teen? Are you completely engaged in their lives? Do they always feel seen, heard, and unconditionally loved by you? When they step into the room, does your face light up? I want to encourage you to ask these questions to your teen. Do you always feel seen, heard, and unconditionally loved by me? If not, can you give me some times in the past where you didn't feel this way? Is there any area in my parenting that you feel I could work on or improve at, honestly? Now, I should preface this with saying, do not ask your teen these questions when you're not in a good emotional state. Do not ask your teen these questions when you are looking for validation for being a good parent. These questions are designed to help you see your blind spots. We all have them as parents, and sometimes it's only our children that can help us see them if we're open to it. And after you ask these questions, no matter what they tell you, just thank them for their honesty and don't say anything else about it. You may be really surprised at what they tell you. And remember, no matter what it is, take it in as a learning opportunity, a way for you to grow in your parenting, and a way for you to show up fully with your teen the way that they need you to. If you can take what your teen tells you to heart and start helping them see their worth, helping them understand their value has nothing to do with what they achieve and accomplish, I guarantee you it will begin to help reduce their anxiety and help them start to trust themselves more and feel more capable when it comes to tough situations. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like it, where I give you the tools to help you navigate the teen years, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and click on the bell icon to get notified when I upload a new video. And I upload videos weekly. I hope that your week is fabulous, and I'll see you in the next video.